right, I'd like to call the March 10th Town Board meeting to order at 7:01. Please stand for pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, the first order of business is the public hearing, which you've held open since last month. So there's agendas up here. Looks like we've got one left. If anybody doesn't have it, a copy of the local law and a copy of the proposed resolution are in the agenda. So I'm going to open up public comment in 1 second. I just want to kind of read privileges of the floor. Every regular scheduled town board meeting, the public has the right to address the town board during a portion of the meeting to be referred to as privileges of the floor, which shall take place after the reports of the town department and supervisor. Members of the public wishing to speak during privileges of the floor may sign a sheet before the commencement of the town board meeting indicating his or her name, address, and proposed topic. Signing the sheet will dictate the order in which the persons are recognized to speak and will assure the town clerk has the correct spelling of their names, addresses for the minutes. Members of the public are to restrict their comments to items of town business and to observe proper decorum while addressing the town board. Persons who become unruly or use inappropriate language or who persist in speaking in items or on items not related to town business may be ruled out of order. Although there is no official time constraint and speakers may address one or more items in their comments, they should be considerate of others and try to limit their remarks to no more than 5 minutes so that all interested members of the public will have the opportunity to be heard. So basic same rules for comments on the proposed law. Again, there's a sign-up sheet if there's going to be a lot of speakers. We'd like people to step up, state your name, and address the board. So at this point, I'll open up the floor at 7:05 for comments on the public hearing on the local law number 1.
If I'm doing it right, because it's all new to me, this is on the moratorium?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Just do me a favor, state your name and
Sure.
information.
I'm Jack White from White's RV at 1530 Williamsburg Road. If it's okay with the town board, I've been asked to speak for all the businesses that have been attending a newly formed group that we have, which is the Princetown Business Group, which is about 23 businesses that got together and we're having meetings, getting to know each other and getting involved with what's going on in the town. As a group, first we'd like to thank our supervisor Mike Joyce for reaching out to us last Tuesday to let us know about a zoning meeting for a zoning review committee change at 7 o'clock. He reached out to some of us to make sure that we could attend that and participate in that, but sadly none of us could make that because we previously already scheduled our meeting for 7 o'clock at the exact same time. We thought it was going to be Thursday, normally like it's posted, and we did plan on attending that. We will have someone attending it Tuesday to work with the zoning review committee to just to see what we have as businesses, what we think as businesses. But tonight, if it's okay, I'll tell you what happened at the meeting with the business people. And just to let you know, any of the business people that want to respond to any questions or opinions, they will. But the consensus of that meeting, like everyone was that was at that meeting, and those who couldn't make it, that called me, asked me to let the town board know that we are against this moratorium. We don't believe it's in the interest of the town, its businesses, or its residents. And we ask that our current board do the responsible thing, and do not pass this moratorium. And that's all I have to say for now. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Bob Paul, 1282 to 1288 Pangburn Road. I think that you guys should really think about this moratorium for one reason, that there's been unfinished business that has not been taken care of. And at this point in time, I want to petition the board for a zone change. Again. The reason why it shouldn't be a moratorium is because this is unfinished business. It's been well over 3 years old. It was tabled 3 years ago, and there's still nothing being done about it. That's why I said it should be, that you guys should know that it should be a moratorium. Thank you.
Additional comments?
My name is Doug Thorpe. I'm a 12-year member and current of the Princetown Planning Board. I was a member of the Comprehensive Plan Committee, on the final Comprehensive Plan Committee. I was the original water superintendent and when the water district first went in. A couple of things on the moratorium. When during comprehensive plan, it was not our intention to decimate the C1 and C2 zone and make major changes to it. We talked about different areas to create hamlets or town center. It was never discussed or in length to take and wholly change the C1 and the C2 district. It was not the intention or my intention as a member of the comprehensive plan. The wording on this says an extension. It is not an extension. The moratorium is expired. It expired in December. It would be a new moratorium. The moratorium, as is written, would be an impediment to growth. We've already had 2 projects come forth on the planning board. One is a landscaping business up at the west end of Route 7, and that's finding its way now that the moratorium is not in existence, and it's basically business as normal without the moratorium in place. A new business that just came in, and this would be an impediment, and I'm not sure if anybody in the town knows, but the Sindoni Sausage Manufacturing Company is coming to Princetown. It's coming up on Commerce Road. Under moratorium, in the wording of a hamlet district, manufacturing is not going to be allowed. Under the moratorium, these types of projects will be on hold. Sindoni Sausage has been around a long time. And this project was highly engineered and with a professional architect, and there's nothing but a class act what they came in and they presented to this town. This is the things that are going to be affected by a moratorium. Not just this project, but any other projects that come in. So, you know, this is one example. You know, to get, for the hamlet district to be implemented the way the wording is now is my opinion, just crazy. To change everything that all these business owners have built their businesses from scratch over time. Hamlet districts in this town are nothing new. And if there's something in this town, history does repeat itself in Princetown. There were a number of hamlets in Princetown over the years, and these are them. The north part of town, in the Scotch Church in Moriville, center of town, Rhinex Corners, these were hamlet areas. Princetown Center is where the corner, right, Pangburn Road, all the way down to 406. And Kelly Station, down here at the Kelly Tunnel. Giffords out on Route 20. These were hamlets. These is what brings people together, hamlets throughout the town. Small area, gathering areas where business can be conducted and people can get together. Not a hamlet district that decimates the zoning laws and either, puts people's livelihoods at risk. So,
Sorry to interrupt, but really the focus is the moratorium.
well, what do you think he's talking about? That's, the moratorium has everything to do with implementing the hamlet district. So, my recommendation, when you go to vote on this moratorium, is to take the business owners, and the last meeting they were all here, they spoke loudly. I reviewed the tape. There was one person that spoke in favor of the moratorium, and it was a resident of Rotterdam who lives close to the proximity of a project that could potentially go in. But generally, everybody in Princetown, the business owners, were opposed. The wording of the hamlet district is troubling. There's a lot of words of if, ands. There's a lot of words that we deal with on the planning board that small words have big meanings. And truly, if you need to read the wordage and verbiage, because the devil is in the details. And when you don't know what you're reading, it will have an effect on the zoning, the permanent zoning. Thank you for your time.
Additional thoughts, questions, comments? I didn't do anything. So what Mike just asked me is if we had any written submissions or comments, letters. I never received any. Additional thoughts, questions on twice? Last call, comments? Okay, we'll close the public comments on the local law at 7:17.
Jack, if you wanted to take the chairs and put them over there.
No, I need to, my back, I need to stand, but thank you.
All right. I'll just do, keep everything moving here, so we'll just move away to the resolution. And then come back to business. A little bit out of order. Yeah. So we're gonna bring the resolution to vote. Unless actually the board wants to make any comments, I forgot to ask. Bob, anything? Lou? Joe?
No.
All right. So, temporary moratorium on permits for projects C1, C2, and I-zone districts regarding special permits or accessory structures associated therein. Whereas the town of Princetown has been considering the adoption of the new temporary moratorium on permits for projects in C1, C2, and I-zone districts requiring special permits or accessory structures associated there within to replace the moratorium which expired, and whereas this town has held a public hearing with respect to the adoption of said temporary moratorium permits on projects in C1, C2, and I-zone districts requiring special permits or accessory structures associated therein, local law number 1/2015 on February 10th and March 10th, 2015 at 7 p.m., at which time all interested parties were afforded the opportunity to be heard and public comment on said temporary moratorium on permits for projects in C1, C2, and I-zone districts requiring special permits or accessory structures associated therein. And whereas the notice of public hearing of February 10th, 2015 was duly published in the Daily Gazette, the official newspaper of the town of Princetown, and duly posted by the town clerk, and whereas referrals made to the Schenectady County Department of Economic Development and Planning pursuant to General Municipal Law, Section 2239-M in January 2015, and whereas the adoption of the zoning moratoriums is a type 2 action under seeker and no further action thereunder is required, and whereas the town board finds it to be the best interest of the town of Princetown to have a temporary moratorium on permits for projects in C1, C2, and I-zone districts requiring special permits. Now therefore be resolved that the town board of the town of Princetown does hereby adopt the Princetown, Now therefore be resolved that the town board of the town of Princetown does hereby adopt the town of Princetown, New York temporary moratorium on permits for projects in C1, C2, and I-zone district requiring special permits. Local law number 1/2015 directs the town clerk to file a copy of said law in her office and file a copy with the New York State Department of State. Therefore, be resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately. Doug Gray.
You gotta have somebody second it, and make a motion.
Do I have a motion?
And I got a question, why is it saying there on the other side of the sheet that the town board finds it to be in the best interest?
Well, assuming that it passed, we're assuming it would be in the best interest.
I vote no for the moratorium.
Do we have a motion, actually?
I'll make it.
Do I have a second? No second? I'll second it. We'll go for the vote. Doug, no. Joe?
On the basis of the input from our Princetown businessmen who are participating very much in town, I also vote no.
Lou, you're supposed to go first, sorry.
That's okay.
Yes, sir. Yep.
On the moratorium, I think that it would be hindrance to the businesses in this community who've come to Princetown and were welcomed with open arms, and they've invested a lot of money and their time into this town and to make their businesses thrive. They work 50 to 70 hours a week, and I don't think it's right for us to be putting a moratorium on them so that they cannot have building permits or be able to expand their businesses, so I absolutely vote no.
Rob Myers?
Absolutely no.
So I'll just make a comment. So I think the spirit of the moratorium may have been twisted around a little bit. I think we were just trying to do what's best for the town. We certainly didn't expect it to take 2 years to get through our, the draft of the Hamlet District. You know, the word I heard from everybody besides trying to keep, you know, the businesses is keep our town rural. That's the common word I heard from everybody on both sides of the fence. And I just thought that giving the moratorium some time would allow it to continue to draft a proposal that everybody was happy with. I looked down less than a mile from here, and we'll call it urban sprawl. It's coming. Make no doubt it's coming. There's what, 200 or 300 units that are just on the other side of the thruway, and that's, you know, I guess it's good news, it's bad, you know, could be, depends how you look at it, but, you know, the reason I moved out of Rotterdam because the urban sprawl had crossed over 890 into Rotterdam, and I think that's our new tracks. Once it crosses over the thruway, it's a straight shot down 7. So, but I do support our businesses, and with the input, I also will vote no. So, resolution. All right. So, got some pretty big business down the road. Typically, we open up the floor for just general comments, privileges of the floor, so, okay, sorry, that's a business. Highway, I haven't talked to Nick. I did talk to him last week about trying to help a resident with some snow. But I think I need to bring to the board's attention that we need to start working on 285 or 284 agreements. There's a couple spots in town we need to address, and I think, and then look at a couple of roads that we have budgeted for. So I'll try to get in contact with Nick and set up a meeting with Joe Ryan. General need, Water Department.
At least our cold weather is coming to an end, I hope. We only had one break here last month out here in Route 7. Actually, got it repaired pretty quick, so it didn't run too long. All generators and everything have all been repaired, they're all up and running. Outside of that, last couple of days, that sun and warmth hit those tanks, and the ice come out of the tanks pretty good. And back to almost full pumping stages now. Hopefully everything's looking good. Outside of that, everything's pretty decent.
Very good. Doug?
No questions.
Joe?
Nothing, but thank you, George.
Lou?
It'll be tough looking out there.
Thank you, George.
Bob?
Thank you, George.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, George.
Town planner, no report. Code enforcement. Is Mickey out there? Justice. So, and it's on tonight's agenda, so Judge Miller had put in for a grant and was approved for 50% to provide security cameras inside and outside the building. So I'm hoping the board will consider it. I know it was on a few people's wish list, so otherwise, I think we're good there. Any questions for the Justice? Doug? Joe?
No.
Lou? Bob?
All set.
All right, and dog control officer is, got training tonight, so assuming no report from her. All right, at this point, I'll open up the privileges of the floor at 6:30. 7:30.
Michelle Van Wert, Stockbridge Road. And after going over the resolution proposed for the surveillance system, the Justice Court Grant Program is a program that the Unified Courts offers courts to subsidize projects that they want to do in their town courts. And it's been going on for quite a few years. And before Judge Miller and even before Judge Reynolds, we got grants for a lot of, actually the bench was built with a grant. And it is a good program that is offered to justice courts to bring everyone up to the same standard. My concern about the surveillance system is whether or not this particular system is going, where it's going to be installed. Is it going to be installed outside and inside? Whether it's going to be inside the courtroom, which could certainly extend into some constitutional issues, especially during court when certain issues that aren't supposed to be made public are public. Whether or not this system is going to be an audio system as well as a video system. And not even so much about the importance of surveillance of the town hall. Outside, great idea. You know, you never know who's gonna say they slipped and fell in the sidewalks and you'll have the proof. But what's equally important here is our fire alarm system. The panel has never been monitored. The town hall could burn down without anybody knowing. We have never been monitored. It's not up to New York State code. And I think first and foremost, that should be addressed, especially when the town has to poke out an additional amount of money out of their pocket and not even out of the Justice Court Fund because it has not been appropriated. The 5 cameras, are they only inside or are they only outside? And where are they going to be strategically placed? The price of $4,333, is that, are there hidden costs that go along with that? And the contract, what kind of cameras are you going to get? This particular resolution, and whether or not the town board members have had the opportunity to look at the actual contract, what kind of cameras they're getting, whether they're DVR based or do they have, are they digital? Do they have analog? Are there any reoccurring costs and who's going to own that equipment? Who will be responsible for maintaining the videos? Are they interfaced with the network so that anyone can go on and log on to the cameras? And who would have the administrative rights to those cameras? Did the court or the town, more importantly, receive 3 separate proposals for the installation of this equipment? And how did Albany Protective Services, Inc. get the bid without seeing 3 proposals? And Sandy, I have a FOIL request for that I'll give to you before I leave. Where specifically the cameras installed again in the courtroom could be problematic. The purpose of this video surveillance, what happens with the data, where is it going to be stored, and I would hope that the town board would ask more questions and table the information, table the resolution so that they could have more information. $2,333 out of a budget that won't even be met this year is going to be a lot of money. Thank you.
Additional comments or privileges or thoughts? Going once? Twice? All right, we'll close the floor at 7:35. All right. Paul, I know you, may have caught you a little short.
Yeah, that's fine. No, I noticed that I was on the agenda talking about the hand. Paul Golding, 162 Overlook, and the chairman of the ZRC. I was really incredibly pleased 2 weeks ago by the attendance, especially of the business community here, and the citizens in general. I thought it was fantastic, and we got a lot of terrific feedback for the committee, which we've only had a chance to briefly discuss at one meeting. I was hoping that at the last meeting that followed that, our meeting, the problem with setting up a schedule for, when we first met, it was kind of like herding cats. Everybody had a different schedule, the 7 of us, and trying to find 2 days during a month when everybody could actually commit to coming was a tricky issue. And we ended up with a weird schedule. We meet on the 2nd Thursday, because we didn't want to meet on the 2nd Tuesday. We met on the 2nd Thursday and the 4th Tuesday. It's Tuesday because the planning board is on Thursday on the 4th week. So that's when we meet, and we're having a meeting in 2 days, Thursday. And I would love it if the business community, I had hoped that more representatives, or any representatives, could have come. I didn't know about your meeting. But I would love it if representatives of the business community, as many as possible, would come 2 nights, 7 o'clock here. We just sit around these tables, and the meetings, although they are shared and people talk in turn, nevertheless, they're quite informal, and I really continue to want to get more input on this and for everyone to understand what we've been trying to do. Because what we've been trying to do is to create a town center, a place where, because you can do more than just commercial, because you can do multifamily housing and mixed use. Theoretically, we could gather enough people into one area to be able to get my grocery store and to get generally uses that would be useful for the town as a whole. We did deal with a couple of changes, and I want to give you, there were 2 in regard, at the last meeting. We discussed and resolved a couple of things. One, can you pass this down? One was the boundary of the gateway, and the other was the uses within the gateway district. We had chopped down the gateway from a large one to a tiny one. This one represents our best thought on what the size of the gateway should be, which is basically the lot from the border, which is just, there's just one lot, then the town lot. And then there's 2 lots that are individually owned before you get to White. So those, but not White, would be on this side of the street, and on the other side there's just 2 lots because one is quite large. So that would be the gateway. And the other change that we agreed on was that taverns and bars would be permitted in the gateway. But there was no real reason for excluding them, especially since we heard from the potential developer of the lot immediately to our east that they were planning on a tavern as part of their overall development.
We can't hear you.
I'm sorry. That's always been my problem. I talk too softly, I'm sorry. We changed the boundaries of the gateway. This map will be on the town website as soon as we can get it there. It basically represents just the properties around Town Hall, but short of White's RV. And on the other side of the street, just the 2 lots that are the first 2 that you come to. We also took bars and taverns off the list of prohibited uses in the gateway. And we all agreed on those at that meeting. There is still an ongoing discussion about what anyone felt, particularly in the Route 20 area, should be the correct boundaries. And again, I would love it if people would come to the meeting on Thursday and give us your input on that. We're trying to create a couple of areas where, because of the opportunity to develop them both commercially and residentially, we might get a large enough population just in that small area to encourage businesses that otherwise might not come here, such as grocery stores. There are a couple of issues left unresolved. One is Route 20, and the other is the specific uses that would or would not be allowed within the Hamlet district. And again, I would strongly encourage you to come for that. If you have any questions, I don't mind answering or trying to answer one or two of them. I don't have a particular presentation here. I did that 2 weeks ago, and I'm very glad that so many people did show up for it. There is, I'm sorry, I'm leaving out one thing that we also talked about, because it came up, frankly, it kind of shocked me, because I didn't think we had anything. I'd forgotten that the word sidewalks even existed in the proposal. It was never our intention to require sidewalks in the hamlet. It was our intention, certainly, never to require the town to create or provide or repair or clear the snow off of any sidewalks in the Hamlet district. The first issue I ever heard of that was when Carver came to the committee several months ago and discussed his proposal for the Route 20 area, in which they would have a number of multifamily dwellings and then a strip of commercial, single building with a number of different commercial entities within it. And they would be connected by sidewalks. And that's the kind of sidewalks that he's going to provide. He, if he does it, then would provide the maintenance of and the repair and snow clearing for it. It's never been our intention, but apparently there was some confusion, and we added wording to the document, which we haven't all gotten a chance to sit down together and say, yeah, that's great. But most of the feedback I've gotten within the committee says, yeah, that's fine, is to make sure it's very clear that we have no intention in this of putting any burden on the town in regard to sidewalks. It is purely a matter of the developers themselves. So that's what we've done. That's what we hope you will come and participate in 2 nights. I would say in relation to, yeah, I will. When Doug and I were on the same committee, we went to all the same meetings, and we at first talked only about the area around Route 7, and then we added Route 20 simply because Carver's proposition made that a very attractive idea. And his would be the core of that, so we added the second one on Route 20. We never discussed these multitude of hamlets that are historically interesting, but were all built at the time because they formed around individual structures such as the Kelly Station, railroad station. Those things don't exist. Those little tiny hamlets don't exist anymore. I think it'd be sweet if they did, but they don't. And what we were trying to do here is to create enough of a focus with enough population that you would actually have incentive for some other commercials to come in addition to the ones that are there. And there's never been an intention to get rid of anybody who's there now. So, questions, if you have any? Otherwise, I'd much prefer the forum on Thursday when we can get down to a much more detailed discussion. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Paul. And you said Thursday, right, 7?
Thursday, 7 o'clock, these 2 tables get pushed together, people sit wherever they want, and we talk.
Thanks again, Paul.
Sure.
All right, town council updates. Doug?
I don't have any.
Joe?
Well, on the 17th of February, the county legislature invited the towns in Schenectady County to attend the property tax credit freeze forum. Tony Jasinski chaired. He's the chairman of the legislature, and he did a very good job. He and Rory Fluman, who's the chairman of the county legislature's standing committee on intergovernmental cooperation, also talked. The meeting was attended by councilmen and supervisors from all the towns in the county, plus the city. Mayor McCarthy was there, and a lot of the town city council was there as well. And everybody contributed to the discussion on shared services in the county in a very productive and interesting way. Fluman gave several examples of towns cooperating with one another, such as sharing snow removal equipment, which is very expensive, but it would cut the expenses on for both towns by doing so. And there were others. It was a very, very good meeting, I thought. And it was gratifying for me to see that our county legislators are actively seeking ways to manage the county more efficiently. And I hope there's a lot more meetings like this. That's all.
You, Joe? Lou?
I really don't have anything to report on. The state police is very quiet. Everything's been working well in the town hall. We're there, and the clock is an hour behind. So, everything is fine. I'll be getting estimates on the roof at the state police to be replaced, and gutters and what have you, and we'll go from there. Like I said, everything has been quiet over there. They're very pleased. So, the garage is pumping water out as it comes in, so.
It's probably a good thing at this time of year. Thank you, Lou. Mr. Bob?
Well, nothing really on the local front, but I attended the same meeting that Joe was at, and it was a very good meeting, and I think that it's very appropriate that the local towns work together as far as, sharing as it was brought out, and, we're going to be looking at different areas that we can share, as like Joe mentioned, we can share equipment in any of our municipal areas that we can share with neighboring towns. It's very cost effective, and that's the name of the game. So we're going to be looking at different areas where we can possibly share with some of our other towns. So I agree that meeting was very good, and hopefully we can put some of that to action. That's all I have.
Good deal. Not a lot for myself. We did set a meeting up for state police to talk about the contract next week, so I'll forward that out. The records management policy is just about complete. It's got to go through some final reviews. I'm going to ask the board's patience, but I'm going to like to re-present again our proposal for the town hall. It's based over a 5-year plan. So I'll be looking maybe to do that next meeting. I'm going to ask the board to reschedule our agenda meetings. It is formal, so we don't have to send out newspaper articles or advertisements every month. And I think that's it. Any questions for me? Okay. Start with minutes approval. So a motion at the town board minutes for the February 10th and February 24th meeting, special town board meeting approved. So a motion. Thank you, Lou. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Bob. Mr. Lou? Mr. Doug?
Yes.
Mr. Joe?
Yes.
Mr. Bob?
Yes.
And Mike's a yes. Town newsletter content approval. Whereas town law 116.13 authorizes towns to publish and distribute a report relative to the fiscal affairs and official acts, programs, and meetings of boards, commissions, departments, and other agencies of the town, and whereas since section 116.13 expressly limits the contents of the town report to the affairs of boards, commissions, departments, agencies of the town, it does not provide authority for the publication of articles which state the views, opinions, and positions of individuals on matters involving the town. And whereas in certain instances, articles stating opinions could also contravene the general principle that public monies may not be expended to convey favoritism, partiality, partisanship, approval, or disapproval concerning an issue. Now therefore be resolved, the town newsletter may not contain articles which set forth individual positions or opinions on particular town matters, or whether any specific article states individual positions or opinions, rather than inform and educate as to the activities of the town or the town board as a whole, is a question of fact to be determined in the first instance by the town board. Be it further resolved that no town newsletter shall be produced or distributed without first having been reviewed and approved by a majority of the town board. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Lou?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Joe?
No, because this smacks of censorship, and I think that is the first stage of a very bad process. I'm against it.
Bob?
Yes.
And I also vote no, for the same reason. But resolution passed. Metroplex Development Authority. So we should probably pause here. I'm not sure we need to go through this. I have somewhere. And I'll leave these on the table, so I just looked this up today. So although the majority of the council wishes to appoint a person to the Metroplex Development Authority, a couple things that are in play here. So basically, it's a joint recommendation of the supervisors of the town of Princetown and Duanesburg. The person who's currently serving has also expressed his interest to stay longer and continue this. So I'm not sure why we're rushing into this without doing proper interviews, setting out for additional people in the community to apply for the position when it opens. So I think we're just trying to rush this through. So for that, I'm going to ask the town board to table this at this time and follow the process that we typically use, which is to publicize it, ask for volunteers who would like to serve on the position when the position opens up. And then I will work with Roger Tidball from Duanesburg on the recommendation. But I'm absolutely going to take the recommendation of the board into consideration. Next, there's a note on the bottom. So the other members that have been, will be appointed tonight at the county legislative meeting, those are the ones that have been reviewed, appointed, and interviewed by the county. So, any questions from the board?
Was there not notification of this weeks ago to the town?
Was there notification in the paper?
No, by letter or anything that there was gonna be an opening?
I didn't see anything.
So, Mr. Tidball, or Supervisor Tidball contacted me and asked if we were being considered. But he also responded at the time that, and I got the guy's name here, I can't remember it. Bob, is it Bill or Bob?
Bob Wall.
Bob Wall is interested in staying on.
He's a good guy.
Yeah. He was a former supervisor at Duanesburg for a bunch of years. Or Johansson, sorry. So again, I know you guys have a person in mind, but, you know,
Well,
there
if
was
he
no
changes his
discussion.
mind, if he changes his mind, he's gonna stay on, you know, that's his, you know, that means things have changed then within the last week or two. But
Mhm.
if he's gonna stay on, then, but,
So what's your question?
well, no, we were under the understanding that the town was notified weeks ago about this opening occurring. This gentleman had a project or so that he was trying to finish up before he stepped out of the position.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were just being proactive and trying to see who else would be interested. And so what I'm saying is,
You notified who and you?
no, if he's decided and changed his mind to stay on, then, you know, that changes the whole picture. If
Okay.
he's gonna stay on,
Right.
you know. We went to a meeting the other night and the word was that he was stepping down.
I'll make a call tomorrow, but I talked to his supervisor last week, and he said he's staying, he had a couple more projects to finish up, so.
He's gonna finish up the project he's doing and he's resigning.
Okay, in that case, then we'll advertise it as required, put it in the newsletter.
The resume was already submitted to Joannesburg too, and they were acting on that from what I understand, what I was told the other night.
Well, I think the bylaws of the Schenectady Metroplex Development Authority are pretty clear. All I'm saying, guys, is, you know, you probably ask everybody. Any questions?
No, I think you put it well, Mike. I think it's a good idea to take it.
I'm kind of in favor of getting it off the table right now.
It's not your choice.
Well, it'd be the recommendation of the board if the supervisor wants to take his authority on his own hands and go against the wishes of the board, that's be up to him.
So you're against even asking anybody else if they want to?
Well, you know, we always do things, we put people up when we want people in. See, this was brought up at the last meeting and nothing was said. Somebody,
What, I don't remember it being wrong.
well, it was. Do you remember it, Bob? Do you remember it, Doug?
I don't.
It was brought up at the last meeting, you can check the minutes, that there was gonna be an opening on the board. That's what I was told.
Metroplex Board?
Yes, yes, it was brought up at the last meeting. And I did not contact Todd Edwards, he contacted me. He already knew about this, sent his resume in. And he sent his resume in to Duanesburg. the supervisor in Dwaynesburg was going to be meeting with him and reviewing his resume along with the town board. And the resignation of, I think it's Hall, is definite. He is going to step down. We put people up over here. You did 2 meetings ago. We put Pat Mooney in. We never even knew about it. We never interviewed anybody else. It's only we interview when it's good for some people. He put in his resume. I think we should act on it.
Does anybody else put in resumes?
Yeah, it was brought up at the town board. I brought it up.
That doesn't answer my question.
Well, I don't know. I haven't heard
Well,
of
then,
that.
why should we go forward if you don't know, if you got all the facts?
Well, do we have any other resumes?
I didn't see it till today, so,
You saw it yesterday.
sorry, that's right, yesterday. So I think it would be only fair that we just ask anybody else in the business community be interested in perhaps applying as a member of the Metroplex Authority.
Yeah.
Preferably somebody with a business leader in town. I know Mr. Edwards is is a successful businessman, and that's great. But perhaps a business person from town who actually has a business in town would be a better candidate.
Well, there's definitely going to be an opening, and I know you met with the Schenectady County Legislature too. I know that Mr. Edwards met with him to discuss this,
How'd you know that?
because I know. I don't have to tell you all my sources, Mike. I just don't sit
That we don't
around.
have to believe all the hearsay that you bring up either.
It's not hearsay, Joe.
Well,
Don't
it
accuse
is
me
to
of lies.
me.
Don't accuse me of
It's
lying.
hearsay, I'm not saying a lie.
Yeah, you are.
Anyway,
So the newsletter's coming out. We can put an article in the newsletter or an advertisement, advertisement.
I mean, I would really like to see Princetown businessmen sitting on Metroplex. That would be perfect. Putting it out there for them to respond.
Can I ask one question?
If you could wait till next privilege of the floor, sorry.
Okay.
Thank you. So, that's my recommendation, table it, ask for some more input, and the full board to do the interviews.
I'm in favor of that.
Seems fair.
So if they appoint Dwaynesburg appoints somebody, then Princetown's out of it.
That's
Because
not,
Dwaynesburg's been in it.
nope, I think you need to read the line right there. The one upon joint recommendation of the supervisors of the towns of Princetown and Dwaynesburg. That would indicate a 50-50 recommendation.
With the supervisor.
Correct.
I'm not opposed to interviewing, but I think that if we're gonna make that a stipulation, then we need to have that as a stipulation for everyone. We need to interview everybody that gets appointed, not just here and there and wherever. Because we haven't interviewed some of our latest appointments, and some of them we didn't even know about. So if we're gonna make that a stipulation, then we need to be consistent and do it for all appointments.
No, very good.
I agree.
Okay, so we'll table it.
Yes.
Bob?
I've got mixed feelings about it. I mean, I'm not opposed to having one of our businessmen, but this has been out there for 2 or 3 weeks, and nothing's been done with it, so.
Well, apparently, the majority of the town board has been interviewing and accepting resumes.
No, we haven't.
We
We
just
heard
got
from
it
the
yesterday,
county.
Bob.
The county informed us of this.
Talk about the resume, Bob.
Yeah.
I just got it yesterday.
I'm opposed to the table.
Doug?
Procedure, there's a motion to table, and it takes precedence over the motion in chief, so.
I didn't hear what you said.
Well, a motion to table takes precedence over the resolution, so you have to deal with the motion to table first.
That's what you said.
No. So I have a motion to table. Is somebody second?
I'll second.
And I'll second. Doug?
The table
This
is,
is on the motion to table.
To table. No. Lou?
No.
So the resolution is to support the appointment. And no
You
more,
didn't ask the rest of the, you didn't ask Bill and Bob yet.
I haven't taken to vote yet.
No, on the motion
On
to table.
the motion to table. You only asked Doug and I.
No, I didn't.
Right, so I'm missing the question, Lou.
So the motion was to table it, and it was voted no.
Okay. I got it.
What's your vote?
No, I think we should table it. Fair.
So that's a yes on the motion to table.
And Joe, which way do you vote?
I vote yes on the basis that I would like, this is not fair. We're not giving everybody opportunity to throw their hat in there. So to rush into this, it's not good.
Okay. So the motion to table has been turned down, so we have a motion. And I just want to begin clear. Upon the joint recommendation of the supervisors of the town of Princetown and Lunenburg, we're taking this vote without accepting any resumes from anybody in town. And the one I got yesterday. Do I have a motion? Is hereby resolved the town board of the town of Princetown supports the appointment of Todd Edwards to the Metroplex Town Board.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second
Mr. Esposito.
Yes.
Mr. Gray.
yes.
Mr. Jazinski.
No, on the basis that I don't think the process has been adhered to.
Mr. Myers.
it. Yes.
And Joyce is a no. Let me reiterate, it's upon a recommendation of the supervisor. Okay, next one. This is yours, Lou. Elimination of town hall to conduct personal business related to outside employment. You want to maybe talk through this, or?
You want me to say?
Yeah?
Very clear. Nobody should be working out of town hall. It's not conducting town business. Very clear what it says.
All right. So this is actually probably a good time to ask. So Bob, I mean, this is really, and I think it's a good idea, Lou, to be added to the personnel policy. So Bob, maybe give us an update on where we are in the personnel policy. Because this probably, in my opinion, could really extend to anybody taking personal calls, anybody doing personal emails, visiting websites. Sorry?
It's a joke. You've been conducting your business out of town hall since you were elected, Mike. That's what we're trying to get rid of.
Apparently.
That's right. You're being paid to work out of your own home, and that's where you should be working.
So was I working here?
Yes, you've been working here quite a bit.
Right. Town work.
With a headphone on. Yep. Hello, it's Mike. Hello, it's Mike. Your own business. You're working your gen man job.
Should be careful.
Okay?
So, back to you, Bob. How's the personnel policy? Should we include this in the personnel policy, or is that just this is a single target?
Well, I know you won't like this, but that was basically taken from me and given to Loretta Coolin. So I do not have an answer for you. I started that, and it was handed over to her, and she made changes, and the board had received some of the changes, and that's as far as it went. So I have no more to say about it. Mhm. And I'm tired of being made a fool of by being assigned things and then having somebody else take it over and make me look stupid, so.
So maybe the question is, should this be included in the personnel policy?
And maybe we ought to ask Loretta Coolin if she's here.
No?
I don't see why it has to be added in the personnel policy, it's just a resolution.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a resolution, that's a vendetta. This is, all of us are part-time councilmen. I have taken calls down here working that were not related to town, but what, I'm a part-time councilman. You know, Mike's a part-time supervisor. And this is vendetta. This motion is, or this resolution,
Can anybody sit here and
and I
say,
think that, I'm not done, but I think what Mike is bringing up, put it in the personnel policy, is a good thing. I mean, let's do it. And then it's clear what's being violated, the policy, personnel policy.
can anybody sit here and say that it's right to be using the town hall to conduct your private business, to do your private job? Can anybody in their right mind absolutely say that? That
So
this
you're
town
making-
hall, that this town hall is used for anything other than town business? Are you kidding me? This should be a non-issue.
Let me ask you a question, to qualify your question. If the person is getting the town business done, and done well, what should it matter if it spills over at no cost to the town?
Well,
Well, the other business. I mean, to me, that's a no-brainer. And to get all indignant about, you know, just the principle of the thing, I think is not right.
I'd like to input a little bit here. This brings up, again, this issue with the action register. Okay? I'm opposed to the action register, and I would like to see it taken off of the internet. Okay? Everything that we have on our action register, okay, should be board action. Okay? Not just an individual board member. Okay? Employee benefit and policies. That shouldn't be on just one board member. We ought to be sitting down and discussing that and doing this as a board. Everything that's on this action register should be board action, not individuals. So I'm opposed to it. It needs to be done as a board, where we should be a unit working on this stuff for our town. And I'm opposed to this, you know, and I know it's been there to make it look like some of us aren't doing anything, but there is a lot going on behind the scenes.
Wait, can I interrupt, Bob? That is, it's about accountability. I go to that thing to check on myself, what do I need to do? And say, oh yeah, it's that. It's not about trying to make anybody look bad, it's about helping us, this town board, get through all the wickets that we need to get through to get jobs done.
But shouldn't it be board working on it?
Well, they're eventually gonna have to approve whatever that individual member comes up with.
Okay,
So,
and look
yeah,
how
so
far
then it
things have
is
gotten. I brought paperwork back and handed out handouts to the board. I've never seen or heard of it again.
I don't
So I think that it needs to be, you know, board action on every one of these things. So I don't see it necessary.
No, okay. I just wanted to say that accountability is a very important
Well,
thing.
accountability is important, but I don't think we need an action register to prove that. I think an individual's actions speak for themselves.
On the issue of this this resolution. It speaks for itself. Like I said, this should be a non-issue. We shouldn't even be discussing something like this. Nobody should be using the town hall to do their private business. Part-time, full-time, no matter what it is. Like I said, it should be a non-issue. The resolution stands.
I understand. Doug?
We're gonna make a motion.
Discussion.
I'm just asking for his thought.
Oh.
I agree.
I don't have any business going on anyway, so. Pretty much in limbo.
Yep. Okay. I'll reserve my comments. Do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Mr. Esposito?
Yes.
Mr. Gray?
Yes.
Mr. Joe?
No.
Mr. Myers?
Yes.
Joyce is a no. Planning Board Secretary, I'm not sure what this is, Lou, you sent me this.
Well, we need a secretary to the planning board.
Yep, I think you guys got the resumes are in your inbox, right? There's a bunch of them, Sandy? So, just to review, the board had given their word that upon a vote of the planning board, they would pick Mary Sue Reed. The board voted 6-1. You guys reneged and asked me to put an article in the paper, which I have. The resumes are in your inbox. When you're ready to start the interviews, I put a closing date of this Friday for final acceptance of resumes. If you guys are ready for next week, I can make the call and schedule accordingly. So I'm not sure what this resolution is.
Well, they've been without a secretary for now 2 months.
Okay.
So if you want to interview them, I suppose that's what we'll have to do then.
So do I have a motion to table the appointment of a no?
I'll make it.
I didn't see how many resumes were there.
I don't,
There was some.
I don't have
Sandy, how
to.
many did you get?
I didn't count them, there was a lot.
So the motion to table. So the motion.
I made it.
Second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes. When are we going to interview these?
Well, I guess like I said, repeated, I gave it Friday for final submission, so they should be in the mail come Monday afternoon. We'll look to, should probably give them as much time as possible, but I'll try to reach out to them Monday night and set up some, maybe next Thursday, if it's possible. That'd be good. All right, transparency in government-related correspondence. It's hereby resolved in an effort to show transparency in the government of the town of Princetown and to better inform the residents of the town of Princetown, all correspondence as relates to the business of the town should be given to the town board prior to the town.
Town board meeting and
Do I have a motion?
so moved.
Second?
I'll second.
Lou?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Joe?
No, this is more censorship.
Mr. Myers?
Yes.
And Joyce is a yes. I'm fine with it. Contract for the fire protection of Potter Kill. Whereas the agreement between the town of Princetown and Municipal Corporation Incorporated under the laws of the state of New York and located in Schenectady County, New York, with the mailing address of 165 Princetown Plaza, Schenectady, New York, 12306, the town and the Potter Hill Volunteer Fire Company Incorporated, under the laws of the state of New York, the fire company. Whereas the town has duly established a fire protection district known as the Town of Princetown Fire Protection District Number 1, the district embracing territory in the town described in the resolution establishing such a district adopted by the town board of said town of Princetown. And whereas the town and fire districts are parties to the fire protection agreement made April 14, 2009, with a term extending through December 31st, 2014, and the town wishes to continue to contract with the fire district for the furnishing of fire protection to the district for a period of time from January 1st, 2015 through December 31st, 2019. And whereas a public hearing was held at the Princetown Town Hall on November 10th, 2014, after due publication of notices of such hearing and such hearing having been called for the purpose of aiding in the determination of whether or not a contract should be made between the town and fire district for fire protection. And whereas at a public hearing, there are no objections to making such a contract. And whereas at such meeting of the town board of the town held on November 10th, 2014, the town duly authorized this agreement with the fire district for the fire protection to the district upon the terms and provisions herein set forth. And therefore be resolved that upon review of the Princetown Board, Town Attorney Mike Cuevas, the supervisor, enter into and sign said agreement with Potter Hill Fire Company, Volunteer Fire Company. Do I have a motion?
I'll make it.
Second.
Mr. Esposito.
Yes.
Mr. Gray.
Yes.
Mr. Joe.
Yes.
Mr. Bob.
Yes.
And Joyce is a yes. Contract for Town Hall Surveillance System.
Can I make a comment about this before we leave? I don't see how we can approve this unless we see a contract, and we didn't see three quotes on this. We owed we always have to have 3 bids on this. Where's the contract and where's the 3 estimates?
Well, we suggest we table it, and I'll ask the judge for the 3 copies.
Well, the exception would be if it's on a state contract.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Where's the money gonna come from? We haven't got it in the budget.
Well, I'm not sure, I think there was a comment made before, that some of the budget not being met. I actually think, I have to go back and look exactly at the budget, but I know it's been on Joe and Lou's list of items for improvements to the town. There is an extra 15,000 or 10,000 in each of the lines for at least a new lawnmower. So, don't think it's a budget item. Because I think, and I can't remember, Joe, maybe when you guys were doing your proposals, the cost at the time for that surveillance was 12,000 north. I don't know, I can't remember. But I don't remember, it was
The
like 2 years ago.
video surveillance was very expensive. We didn't have a very good, what do you call it, when you put out the bid, request for quotes?
Request for quotes.
Yeah, we had much better with fire, in the burglar system, but
Yeah, that included the fire alarm system, burglar system, a water bug to let us know if there was flooding here again, and a low heat sensor to let us know that if the heat had gone off in the middle of the night or on a weekend when no one was in the building. It just wasn't for video surveillance.
Well, I guess, again, willing to table it and go back and ask them.
We need 3 estimates, that's.
Well, I understand that.
That's true, but that looks like
This is
reasonable
understatement,
number to me,
yeah.
based on what I know.
And just for and I'll put this on the website or put it in the minutes for next meeting. So it's 1 camera in the courtroom, 1 camera in the lobby, looking at the check-in area, 2 cameras in the hallway, 1 looking north, 1 looking south, 1 camera outside the building looking to the parking lot, 1 camera supply, 1 9-channel digital video recorder, 1 17-inch monitor, all cabling needed to complete the work, installation included.
I'm not opposed to it necessarily, Mike, but I do have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Where would the monitoring come in, and who would be doing that?
There's no monitoring, this goes to tape.
Okay, so something could happen here.
Well, I think you're looking at somebody like, you know, a dial-in, like somebody breaking into their house. I don't think that's, it just goes to, if something happens, it records 7 days, and then on the 8th day, it re-records over the first day. So if something happened, then you go to the machine and pull up your video and you look at it. There's no personnel monitoring this.
Okay, I was just asking.
You know, good question.
What's it gonna cost to keep it going?
Electricity,
We haven't, like I said, we haven't seen a contract, we don't know what the warranty is on it, we haven't seen nothing yet, I don't know how we can vote on this.
yeah, great. I'm just saying, I thought you guys would be, this is what you wanted, but apparently not.
Well, it is, but
Okay.
our law says that we have to have.
That's reasonable, yeah.
Yeah,
I
it
think,
said it's reasonable. I said that. I said it's reasonable.
I think
Okay to
Mike's,
take contract,
think
or
that
table it.
the motion to table is like,
Yeah.
let's find out if he did get free.
Yeah. And I'm sure the court is very aware of the laws and rules and regulations for taping in and out of court.
Yeah.
I'm sure the prosecutor is very aware. I'm sure, and this was signed off by Caruso, which is the 4th District judge. So I'm pretty sure they understand. Okay, so do I have a motion to table this?
So moved.
I'll second it.
This is Bob first, Lou second.
Yes.
Lou?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Mike's a yes. All right, it's business time, folks. There's actually not a lot of business, so bear with us. Water fund claims for 2015, abstract number 3, again for our residents. In the back of your agenda, we break out what we're spending every month. So if you wanted a little more in-depth understanding of what exactly we're spending, you know, for example, Carver Construction, I'm looking at the water bill, voucher number 15. I'm sure we can grab George to go through exactly, you know, what was that $2,700 for? Or National Grid, or you know, whatever it is. But again, just so you guys know where we're spending the town's money. All right. Water fund claims, 2015, abstract number 3. It's hereby resolved, do I have a motion? It's hereby resolved, the town board approves claims 11 to claims 22 in the amount of $8,923.76.
So moved.
That was Bob first, sorry.
Yes.
Mr. Lou?
Yes.
Mr. Doug?
Yes.
Mr. Joe?
Yes.
Mr. Bob?
Yes.
And Mike's good. General funds claims, abstract number 3. Oops. It's hereby resolved, the town board approves claims number 30, claims 31, and claims 54 in the amount of $15,862.32. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Esposito. Mr. Gray.
Yes.
Mr. Joe.
Yes.
Mr. Bob.
Yes.
And Joyce is a yes. All right, I will, it's 8:28, we'll open it up for comments. Open the floor for comments.
Carol McLean, the Richard Charles, I'm chair of the planning board, town planning board, and I respectfully request that tonight you appoint a secretary to the planning board. We're going to be going into the March meeting. We have no secretary that's taken out the meeting minutes for January, February. There's a legal obligation that these things have to be done. I could certainly do them quickly, but I'm a voting member of the board and should not be doing meeting minutes. Only from an objective point of view. Someone could say, I subjectively put things in there and I wasn't objective. So that's why there's a secretary. Now, you appointed Mr. Mooney, who's a voting member of a board without ever interviewing anyone else. This is a position that someone doesn't vote, they're the secretary, and do certain tasks that aid the planning board in their duties. So, this back and forth on sometimes you interview and sometimes you don't, does not behoove anyone, especially the planning board at this point. So, I thank you.
Thank you.
Pat Mooney was an alternate before he got appointed to the board, right?
Correct.
I don't think, to me, that's just why an alternate exists. He's already got experience, so, I don't think that there should have been, an article in the paper for that. The thing is, for that, the next alternate to replace Pat in that position, okay. So, I don't know if that's a valid argument.
Sure is. We got to interview Doug Thorpe.
So,
He was on the board before.
so,
But he wasn't
oh,
sitting.
no disrespect, guys, it's their turn. The
Yeah.
board already residents finish up. So,
I
for
apologize for sticking my nose in.
Okay, going once? Going twice? We'll close the floor at 8:31. All right, I will open it up to councilman concerns. Start with Mr. Doug.
I was wondering, in the paper you had thing for planning board secretary, then I see in there was one for the judges, another secretary for the judge. What's the reasoning for that? That's first I knew anything about that until I see it in the paper.
Right, so I'll take the responsibility of that. I did ask you guys for permission to run the article for the secretary. After the town board meeting, I was advised that the court, upon recommendation of the Office of Court Administration, suggests or strongly suggests that we have a backup person in case of sickness, et cetera. Let's have one meeting, please. So he requested that as long as we're running one article, instead of running a completely separate article on to save costs, that I run the article. So.
Who sent did they send him a letter or something? The judicial system told him he had to have that, because we never had one before.
I can ask the judge for formal documentation, I can do that, absolutely. I want to highlight that it's not like we're putting two people in there, it's not like we're going to be doubling it's still going to be one clerk.
Where's the money going to come from this second one if you appoint another one?
There is no money, there's no change. It's not like there's going to be two people working in there, there's only one person working in there. So whatever the hours that are dictated now will be the hours they're spending. It's just if somebody calls in and goes, if Rebecca calls in and goes, you know, I've got the flu, it's really bad, it's, you know, one of the 10-day flus, whatever the sickness is, or whatever the reason is we have somebody to call in and say, can you come in and backfill?
If I understand it correctly, though, that funding can't come out of the same line. And we don't have another line with any funding in it for.
Why wouldn't it have the same line?
I don't know that that can be.
No? Hey, John Devison, I'll give you a call tomorrow. Okay, great. Thank you, sir. Sorry. No, sorry, Doug, did I answer your question? Yeah. Thank you. Anything else? No. Mr. Joe?
Well, I'm just, there are 3 or 4 resolutions in here that really, I don't know, I don't like it. I was not made aware of it, had no idea, my input wasn't requested. It was just kind of put out there. And one is the vendetta, other is censorship, and I don't like the direction this town board is moving. And that's my statement.
Thank you, Joe. Any thoughts for Joe? Questions for Joe? Lou?
What do we do about having a temporary, somebody taking notes to the planning board? Obviously, there's a problem there, maybe it should be addressed on a temporary basis, till we get somebody in there.
Well, Darla and Mary's, Darla's secretary for the zoning, or ZBA, and Mary Sue's secretary for the ZRC. They're both more than qualified. They've both got a lot of experience. They both understand, you know, the technical terms for, you know, for zoning. We could ask one of them to step in on a temporary basis, do it for a night or two, or whatever, you know, it takes to publish the minutes.
Carol, is there anybody on there that would, on your board right now?
I already talked to Darla, she wouldn't be interested in doing it.
When is your next meeting, Carol?
It's the 26th of this month.
So if we
But
start
there's
interviews.
catch-up for January, February, you know, that should be addressed at this point.
So that would give us 2 weeks, pretty much, if we do interviews. Next week, no, you have till Friday for them to get it in. We start interviews next week.
No, I got a call.
We should be able to come up with somebody for the next meeting.
Yeah, I would think so. But I guess, is your question going backwards?
No, it says,
Well, I would volunteer to help with those minutes until somebody's, if it's okay, with the board of the planning board. I'd be happy to volunteer my time for the 2 backup meetings only, and with the hopes that the town board hires somebody by the next planning board meeting. And I certainly have experience in secretarial work. You wanna call it? Should Carol call her board, or is it up to you guys?
It's really up to the town board.
Okay.
So when you say volunteer,
Excuse me?
when you say volunteer, does volunteer mean free?
I guess it does.
All right. I love that word. Doug, what do you think?
Fine with it.
Joe?
Free?
Mr. Myers?
I have no problem.
Thank you, Michelle, for the volunteering. All right. Thank you.
no, that's all I have.
Mr. Myers?
I just wanted to make a comment in no reflection, Joe, you're talking about that one resolution. I don't feel that it is censorship, because I'm not for censorship, But I think that what was intended was when there is mail or correspondence that comes into the town hall, we used to get copies of everything. You know, if a resident or somebody wrote a letter in and it was pertaining to town business, we would get copies, you know, so that the board was abreast and aware of, you know, the correspondence. We used to get copies of all correspondence. And I think that's all that was referring to, is just giving us a copy so that we were aware of what was going on, you know,
I
correspondence
didn't
wise.
understand it that way at all.
Well, that's what it was intended.
That's what it was intended for, because that meeting that you attended, the only way I knew about it, somebody mentioned it to me, and then we got an invitation in the mail. Both Bob and I got an invitation in the mail. The one for the, that you attended over in,
That's how we all got them.
well,
So that's all
no,
it
they
was.
didn't.
It was
Doug
not
didn't
for
get
being.
it. They went to you, and Joe, and you asked Joe to go in your place, because he got up at the meeting and said that.
Right, but so you got one, Bob got one, so 4 out of 5 got one.
No,
I thought you just said Bob and you got another letter.
Joe didn't get a letter.
What do you mean?
You got the notice? You said at the meeting over there that Mike asked you to go in his place.
Yeah, as a supervisor, you know, but I had the letter right in my pocket when I went there.
Doug didn't get a letter.
I didn't give one.
Can't explain that.
It should have been given to the town board. I didn't know about it until someone called me.
I thought you said you got a letter.
And I got a letter after that. I asked for a formal invitation. I wasn't just gonna go on my own with somebody saying it to me. I called and asked a question.
Well, I guess I'll have to look at your letter, Doug, or
I guess
Lou,
we'll
and
have
say, compare the dates. Mine came in the mail to my house. But, anything else, Bob?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
So, I'll respond here. So, the town newsletter, that's fine. I do agree, censure, but whatever. As far as the job goes, yeah, I take personal days or personal time, if it is comp time or vacation time or whatever time it is, and I come down, because unlike the rest of the board, I do need to work in town hall. I do need to spend time here interfacing with the departments, whether it's the assessor's office, the bookkeeper, the water department, town clerk, the court, set up calls with the residents, use the town facilities to make business. I do. And I try to get down here and spend 1 day a week to spend with them. Or as much time as I can, again, depending on my, you know, my personal business, or my business anyway, my work. I'm kind of shocked that that's like, so catastrophic that, you know, I'll get kneecapped for it. It's like, are you kidding me? I come down here to work for you. Basically for nothing. You know, I've had calls to the work, and this is exactly what this looks like. It's like, this, I need to call my company and say, I think we might be getting another call because some people are mad that I'm actually working down here, doing the work you're paying me to do. I need to work with the staff when they are here. So do I do a couple emails? Yeah, on my computer. Actually, it's not even mine, it's my work computer. Do I take a couple of calls? Yeah, I do. Verizon Wireless, pretty sure I'm paying for it. It's just petty. It's really pathetic. You know, you pay me, I try to come in here and do the job you pay me to do. And I try to put in my 8 to 10 hours a week. And unfortunately, I do need to work with this. It takes about 8 hours to do. To write this agenda takes about 8 hours. It's just not, it doesn't appear out of nowhere. You know, I try to work with Paul, I try to work with the other committees, I try to work with Sandy, I gotta work with Mike, you know, there's other contacts I gotta make. I've gotta do it during the day, folks, that's it. I mean, I have to do it during the day. So, should I do it out of my house? You know, I bought this phone specifically for town business. I think I vouchered it $50 in 3 years. So, seems petty, seems real petty. But I guess I'll just let everybody know that we'll possibly get a phone call from my work again. And what's the difference between personal business and professional business? I'm sure that everybody in town hall is taking an email, a personal email. Everybody's taking personal phone calls. I'm sure we can go back and look for people doing Christmas shopping here. That's my comment. I mean, you know, what, are you kidding me?
I support you 100%, Mike. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. When do you want me to work? On Sundays? Because who am I going to talk to on a Sunday?
It's not like you're the only one doing work, Michael.
Lou, if you of all people, I can assume, and this is no reflection on the rest of the board, but Lou, you, I feel your pain, because I know you do a lot of work too. I really do. I know that. So there's no question that you do, go above and beyond. I'll let the rest of the board kind of figure it out. But that kind of brings us back to the action register. This is just basic business, guys. This is just basic business. You know what? I can't remember everything that I got to do in my personal life, my regular work, and this. This was just something to track. Like, where are we? The town board eventually has approval on everything, but even the state senate, they work by committee. And that's why we should work here. We should give it to the people, the residents, you guys, as volunteers, save costs, to do some of these projects. And then when it's done and ready to go, you hand it to us and we either question it or say we don't like it, give it back, whatever. I mean, it's just an action register. That's all. It gets updates in there. It's not reflective of anything. It's an action register. Again, pretty basic business. I don't know how many people call it a things to do list, but that's really all it is what's things to do for the town. We have a lot of stuff to do. That's how I try to keep track of it. So that's it, folks. Any questions for me from the board? With that, do I have a motion to adjourn at 8:45? 9:45. No, 8:45. I think I gotta move those Bibles up a little bit.
I'll make the motion.
Joe, second? Thank you. Lou, Doug, Joe, Bob, Mike, yes.